It is now 7 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and start the meeting. Okay. Can I have all the aldermen in their seats, please?
Alderman Guzman, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you very much. The mayor's about to convene.
Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Turner.
Here.
Donnerworth.
Present.
Florian.
Yes, I am.
Harry. Hayes.
Present.
Bolton.
Present.
Guzman.
Aye. Present.
Alderman Martinez.
Present.
Felix. Newsome.
Present.
Mayor Taylor.
Present.
You have a quorum, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Okay, so tonight, pursuant to the procedures of the Waukegan City Council, Alderman Guzman has requested to participate remotely. He has a medical issue, which is one of the qualifying conditions that allow you to participate remotely under state law and the City Council's rules. He has demonstrated that he can hear and be heard. Does anyone have an objection to Alderman Guzman participating remotely tonight? All right. So the only qualification is that all votes must be made by roll call.
Okay. Our invocation tonight will be given by Pastor Robert Marshall from Jesus Name Church. Thank you so much for being here this evening.
Thank you so much for having me. All right. Tonight I want to open up really quick with one of my favorite scriptures, which is Psalms 23 and 4. Very familiar to some of us. But it reads, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me." Let us pray. We come to you in the moment of thick transition, a valley between what has been and what will be. And yet even here we echo the words of this psalmist, "You are with us." You have been with this city in seasons of triumph and seasons of trial. You have walked with us through uncertainty, injustice, rebuilding, and renewal. You have watched over us when we did not know which way to go. And now, as we cross from one chapter into the other, one season to the next, we do not walk alone. Your rod and your staff, they comfort us. Your rod brings discipline and defense, reminding us that justice must be upheld, truth must be protected, and every decision made in these chambers must serve the good of all of your children. Your staff brings guidance and grace, drawing us back when we drift, steadying us when we stumble, reminding us that leadership is not just about power, but it's about people. So tonight we ask for your vision. We ask that we will see beyond our political standings. We ask for your divine wisdom that listens beyond noise, for hearts that beat for the least and the lost and the left behind. And may we not be afraid of the valley, because you are the God who walks with us through it. Part the way before us, Lord, like you've parted the seas before weary wanderers. Make a path where that seems to be no path. Build bridges where there have been divides. Strengthen weary hands and renew faint hearts. We do not gather here simply to govern, but to shepherd, to protect, to guide, and to serve. And so we say we trust you, and we believe surely your goodness and mercy shall follow us, not because we have all the answers, but because you are with us. Bless this city, Lord, bless its future, and bless the hands, the hearts, and the minds you have called to carry it forward. In your holy and eternal name we pray. Amen.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Go on to mayor's comments. I'm going to start with Chief Navarro. Is he here? There he is.
Hello, City Council and residents of Waukegan. I want to briefly speak about a death investigation that was conducted here in the city of Waukegan on the 700 block of Yeoman. We had a lot of inquiries on this, and I just want to share the information that I can on this ongoing investigation. On April 10th, our patrol division assisted the Antioch police detectives who were in our city attempting to locate a male subject in regard to their missing persons case of a Megan Boss, age 37. Investigators located a subject by the name of Jose L. Mendoza Gonzalez, who was determined to be one of the final persons to text message Miss Boss prior to her disappearance. Jose was located at his place of employment, and because of the language barrier, our agency got involved. One of our officers began speaking with Jose at outside of his work, and he commented that he was never going to see his family again. So Jose was brought to our department, and he provided a statement. He said that he paid Miss Boss for sex on multiple occasions. Jose indicated that he had intercourse with Megan in February, and afterwards she was snorting a powdery substance in his basement, and she overdosed, according to his statement. Jose said he was in the United States illegally, and he was afraid. So he left her body on the couch in his basement for 2 to 3 days. He broke her cell phone, and he threw it in a garbage can, which was later picked up during weekly garbage pickup, and we were unable to locate it. Jose said he placed Megan's body in a separate garbage can, which was not placed out for weekly pickup, but was instead left in his driveway near his garage. Waukegan police detectives then responded to the 700 block of Yeoman and confirmed a body was indeed in a garbage can in Jose's driveway. However, due to the positioning of the body in that can, it was impossible to make any identification. The coroner's office advised they would recover the entire garbage can and process it at their facility, which took place on Friday, February 11th at 9 a.m. Investigators from the Waukegan Police Major Crime Scene Unit were also present for that autopsy. The autopsy showed no signs of trauma or struggle. Waukegan detectives conducted numerous interviews of the roommates who also resided at that same house. Detectives obtained a search warrant for the residence and searched the house and garage. Jose Mendoza Gonzalez was charged with abuse of a corpse, 2 counts of concealing the death of a person and obstructing justice. All of the charges against Jose Mendoza Gonzalez are Class 4 felonies, but under the Safety Act are non-detainable offenses. Jose Mendoza was released on pretrial supervision. We're waiting on further reports from the coroner's office, which includes the toxicology report. This is still an active and ongoing investigation. So as of this morning, I had a brief meeting with the state's attorney and his first assistant, State's Attorney Reinhardt and First Assistant Lauren Callanan on this case. We were talking about where we may be able to go once all the reports are finalized. We're bothered by it. They're bothered by it. The judge, from what I understand, is also bothered by it, but it's what we can currently prove, and that's why this case is going to remain active until until all of our evidence is gone through. Okay? I don't know if you have any questions on that, but I know we had a lot of inquiries, and I just wanted to set that record straight with those that didn't have all the information. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief Navarro. Next, I'm going to bring up our finance director. For some of you, you know that our budget is usually done on May 1st, but during election year, sometimes that is postponed so that the new mayor can come in and kind of put their touches on it. So there will be no public hearing. We initially thought we would do one on April 24th. That has been postponed, and the new mayor will come in. We have a budget, a balanced budget in place that Mr. Schultz will talk about, but it can be tweaked, it can be whatever, and he's going to talk a little bit about that.
Thank you, Mayor. We have a PowerPoint presentation. Here we go. This is a very quick glance at the budget that was prepared. This is not a public hearing, so we're not going to go into great depth of the budget. We just want to speak in generalities as much as we can. It's a very large budget. It's part of the largest budget and the most ambitious budget that I'm aware of in the 41 years I've been involved in Waukegan one way or another. The budget measures $285 million, $39.9 million greater than the prior year, or 16.3% increase. $70.2 million in capital improvements. That's historically high. We've never been even close to that number. $5.2 million in fixed asset replacements. That's vehicles, equipment, maintaining our facilities. It includes a $10.6 million lead service line replacement program, $8 million for streets, sidewalks, and alleys, $13 million for bridges and culverts, $9.3 million for water main replacements, $18 million for water plant improvements, their SCADA, their data analysis, storage tank rehab, booster stations, lift stations, $1 million that the council approved already on the Washington Street corridor, engineering phase 1, with the RAP money, the revenue allocation plan money, $1.5 million for the parking garage improvements, $850,000 to improve our 4 of the 5 fire stations, our public works facility, our police department. 0% increase in the tax levy for the 4th straight year. No increase to the levy in the debt service extensions that the county will apply for 4 straight years. It includes the first use of the funding from the revenue allocation plan that's been approved by the council. We can now move forward with the spending of that money. Right now, that fund has over $10 million in it, and part of that is being funded in fiscal year 26. It's a structurally balanced general fund. That is, our recurring revenues are equal to or greater than recurring expenditures. The stabilization fund that the council set up several years ago requires us to maintain 8% of our general fund appropriations. We will be $1.1 million greater than required in the stabilization fund. Finance has always had a policy of maintaining a general fund balance equal to a certain number of months. GFOA, Government Finance Office Association, they say 2 months worth. Our policy has always been 3 months, 25%. Our general fund balance, as we'll see in a few minutes, is equal to almost 6 months. $52 million in cash right now in our general fund, plus another $9.1 million in the stabilization fund. So the city is in very healthy, stable condition right now. The budget in brief, across 7 funds, you can see the $40 million increase. The general fund has most of our city employees, good 80% of them at least are paid from general fund. That's showing an increase of only 4.7%. Such revenue funds, pretty even with last year at $56 million. Capital project funds, there's 2 capital project funds, one for fixed assets, one for streets. Our capital improvements are $70 million, so you know it's drawing more monies from water and sewer and from motor fuel tax. Debt service, we're going to retire a little more debt this year than prior years. Enterprise funds, you can see it almost doubled. And that's because $39 million in the enterprise funds and water and sewer is being used for capital improvements. Internal service funds, there's a large increase for workers' comp and liability. We know our liability claims have increased. We're budgeting for that increase next year. Fiduciary funds, that's your police and fire pension funds. The city increased our levy for police and fire pensions. By fund, general fund is 37% of total operations. Enterprise funds, water and sewer, and parking fund is 20%. Special revenue funds, another 20%. In terms of expenses by type, personnel, salaries, and benefits take up 36% of the entire $285 million budget. It takes up 80% of the general fund budget. Capital improvements will account for 25% of the total budget in fiscal year 26. You can see the general fund, 79% is for personnel, salaries, and benefits. 12% for contractual services, the next largest. But you can see that we are a service provider. So as a service provider, your largest expense is going to be your personnel, their salaries and their benefits. There are types of government budgets. There's a balanced budget, where across the board revenues equal or exceed expenditures. There's budgets that are unbalanced. Either there's a surplus or there's a deficit. Structurally balanced for next year would be the general fund, our fiduciary funds, and our internal service funds. Our policy has always been to make sure we have a general fund budget that's structurally balanced, that revenues equal or exceed expenditures. Other funds build up great resources over time. We're not a paycheck by paycheck. You know families like that. They live from paycheck to paycheck. If the city did that, we wouldn't have any resources to pay for major events down the road. What happens with the city is that you collect revenue in 1 year, you don't spend it all in 1 year. It goes in the bank, you save it, you invest it. The next year you'll bring in more money. You may not spend that. You keep saving, and you're eventually going to spend it on pride. We're not in business to hoard money. Our business is to make sure we have healthy fund balances, that we're in healthy financial shape, and that we save enough money so that we can carry out projects in the future. And that's what we're doing with our current budget. You can see that with the draft of the budget, our total expenditures are 285, revenues is 261. Net change, it looks like we've got a deficit of 23 million. Is that really a deficit? It's a matter of semantics sometimes. Some people say, well, if your revenues don't equal your expenditures, you must be running a deficit. Not when you have the amount of money in reserves that the city holds, and we're paying for capital projects now with that money. As you read here, it is a policy of the city for the city to adopt a balanced budget for all funds. The balancing of the budget can be accomplished in different ways without incurring new debt. We're not incurring any debt with this budget. First, some funds are structurally balanced when recurring revenues equal or exceed recurring expenditures. We see that in the general fund. Second, the budget may be balanced where expenditures are met or exceeded by current revenues, allowable interfund transfers between the funds, and the use of accrued and unassigned balances, or reserves. The city will avoid budget and accounting practices that balance the budget at the expense of future budgets. We will not use one-time sources to fund continuing uses. We will not postpone expenditures. We will not intentionally underestimate expenditures or intentionally overstate revenues, simply to to balance the budget. We will not use external borrowing for operational requirements. The use of reserves is an acceptable practice to offset short-term deficits. In simplest terms, for me, the budget is balanced when current revenues equal or exceed current expenditures with the occasional use of reserves on a short-term basis. And we're going to draw upon some of those reserves. Let's look at the changes. You can see in the red. You say, well, the city's running a deficit. Well, then it does in most years. If there's a problem this year, then it was a problem last year, it's a problem for the last 15 years. It's not a problem when you have reserves to cover those expenditures. Look at the next slide. You'll see a whole grouping of red. Can we actually function year after year after year if we're in the red every year? Of course not. Then how are you paying the bills? How are you meeting your expenditures? Because you've built up reserves over time. All of these, you question every year. The city would appear to be in the red every year. And on a budget standpoint, you may say, well, that's true. But if you look at what we actually spend compared to what we bring in, we're not. Look at the next slide. The general fund right now, and this is all, you can compare it to what the treasurer puts out on a monthly basis. These aren't made up numbers of cash or what we have available. It's from the treasurer's report itself, put together by the city treasurer and the deputy. Our cash and investments on hand. At the end of March, $52 million in the general fund. That's more than 25% of operations. It's more like 6 months of operation with a $105 million budget. In addition to the $52 million in the general fund, we have $9.1 million in the stabilization fund that was created to offset short-term deficits. We haven't used it. We have no intention of using it. We will allow that to grow, to continue to grow with investment earnings. We expect to grow by $360,000 next year with investment earnings in that fund. If we come across an emergency, we need to draw on it, you have it available. Special revenue funds have a $9 million where expenditures will exceed revenues next year by almost $10 million. You have almost $63 million in your special revenue funds. So where's the deficit? Capital improvements will draw upon that $12.5 million reserve. Debt service. The only reason you show a negative debt service is that we decided last year we didn't want to increase the levy. What we do on an annual basis, we abate property taxes on our bonds. Since the police pension and fire pension used more of our levy last year, we had to reduce the amount that's used for debt service. So we're going to take money from our debt service reserve fund. We have over $2 million in debt service reserve used for that purpose. We're going to draw upon reserve and debt service to pay off one of our bonds. So it didn't go on the tax bill. Water and sewer has $43 million. Are we going to continue to let it sit there, or are we going to use it? We're going to draw upon it to pay part of that $39 million project or projects. You all have a long sheet in front of you, legal size sheet, that lists all the projects for $70 million next year. You can look it over. Talk to Antonio, talk to Jesus, talk to Chris. Internal service funds, we'll have a surplus. Fiduciary funds. You expect fiduciary funds to have a surplus. Let's not kid ourselves. When you have $260 million invested in police and fire pension, it's going to draw a lot of interest, isn't it? So even when you pay off what's required for that year's pension, you're still going to have a nice balance. The next chart simply shows a graphic presentation that our reserves are more than sufficient to meet our expenditures. General fund, in general fund, we have to always look at the general fund. Special revenue funds, you can only spend on specific projects. The money comes in for a specific purpose. If the money doesn't come, you can't spend it. General fund is any allowable use. It doesn't have to be accounted for. If it doesn't have to be accounted for in another fund, it's accounted for in a general fund. Look at the net change in the general fund over the years. Our revenues have increased from $69 billion in 2018 to $109 million in 2024. Our expenditures have gone from 73 to 96. But look at revenue over and under expenditures in 2024, last year, $13.8 million greater. Year before, 19.6. This has allowed us to transfer money out of the general fund into our fixed asset replacement fund, into our street project fund. Look at the fund balance in the general fund. In 2018, you had a $28.8 million fund balance. In 2024, at the end of the year, $27 million fund balance. That's very healthy, extremely healthy. But it's not enough just to look at the fund balance. How much of that is unassigned? Some of your fund balance may be committed. It might be assigned for some use. Our unassigned balance has grown from $23 million to $49 million at the end of 2024. We say we like to maintain a general fund balance equal to 25% of expenditures. That's that red line at 25%. We are significantly above that. And finally, the last slide is stabilization fund. We're required to have $8.5 million. That's based on a $105 million budget for next year. 8% is $8.5 million. At the end of '26, we'll have 9.5, $1.1 million over and above what we are required to have. So all I can say is that at the end of this fiscal year, the city is in very healthy financial shape, with strong fund balances in the general fund, in statutory funds, enterprise funds. You have massive projects scheduled. All good.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Schultz. I do want to say that we have not taken out bonds. We have actually paid down bond debt that we took out in 2020, was it? Or 18 and 20, didn't we take out some in 2020 as well? So we've not added bond debt or any of that, so we are in good shape. Like I said, I feel good that we have a budget for the next administration, that they have something to work with. I know that was a worry when I came in. We had no budget and no finance director, so we've kind of gotten things off the ground, and I want to continue that because this is the best financial shape we've been in a long time. But we will not be deciding on the budget probably until May 17th, so that will delay projects getting done because our new budget starts on May 1st. So we cannot go out for bid on things because we're under emergency spending until that budget gets approved. So just so you know, there may be some delay in getting roads done and that kind of thing because we can't go out for bid until that time. Okay, on to the rest of announcements. As many of you may have noticed today, official Earth Day month activities continue this week. And today, we completed our first dumpster thing in the first and second wards. We collected quite well. I think we filled up 3 dumpsters by like noontime in the first ward. We were doing quite well. If you missed today, remember tomorrow is the second and third ward. Third and fourth ward. Wednesday is the 5th and 6th. Thursday is the 7th and 8th, and Friday is the 9th ward. You can go to any of those dumpster sites. It does not have to be your ward. You can go to any of them. Again, this is something that is free to our residents. Take advantage of it. Do your spring cleaning. This is the time that you get that done. If you have any questions, go to our website at waukeganil.gov or on many of our social media pages. There's also a couple of other community-driven cleanups happening this weekend. The Waukegan Harbor cleanup is coming Saturday, April 26th from 8 to 11 a.m., and another one at the Waukegan Beach on Saturday from 10 till noon. And don't miss the Recycle Your Tech event on Tuesday, April 29th from 9 to 1 at the City Parking Lot D, located at the corner of West Clayton and North Sheridan. This event is in collaboration with the Lake County and the City of Waukegan, and it encourages everyone to pitch in and help. For information, contact 847-599-2525. And again, in your dumpster cleanups, electronics are allowed. You just can't do paint, tree stumps, any garbage, stuff like that. Also, the City of Waukegan is working with LRS for a spring cleanup, and what that is for the next 2 weeks, you can put out an unlimited number of residential yard waste bags and designated yard waste cans, each weighing no more than 50 pounds, without the need for stickers. Yard waste or landscape waste includes organic materials from maintaining gardens, lawns, trees, and shrubs. However, please note things like sod, dirt, artificial Christmas trees, wreaths, garlands, and food scraps won't be accepted. And again, if you have more questions on that, you can contact LRS at 844-633-3577. Also, this is the last week for city stickers. They're due by April 30th. If you want to stay clear of long lines and hefty fines, it's best to get your stickers early. The Waukegan Police Traffic Bureau will have special hours this Saturday, April 26th, from 8 to noon for those last-minute purchases. You can also find passenger and truck stickers at most currency exchanges in Waukegan, but keep in mind there's an extra convenience fee at those exchanges. And they also don't apply discounts like the senior citizens, those with physical disabilities, or active military. So if you want those discounts, you have to come to City Hall to get those. I want to recognize a couple of retirements of prominent community leaders. As many of you may remember, a couple of months ago, United Way of Lake County CEO Christy Long was here to recognize Lake County 211 system. She will officially be retiring on May 1st. And that'll include her 43-year career with United Way. She led the United Way of Lake County since 2002 and fostered many initiatives in her tenure, including Success by Sixth Reading and the Lake County 211 system. Also, Arden Shore President and CEO Dr. Dora Maya will be retiring after 25 years of leadership on May 2nd. She will be leaving her post as an extraordinary leadership, innovative, and project leader. They will become, if you don't know what Arden Shores does, they're a leading provider of child welfare and mental health services of Lake County. Next, I want to recognize the untimely passing of a couple of Waukegan's notables. For those of you who remember Jim Gamble, who was one of the founders of the Waukegan Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association, passed away last week. He will be remembered as one of our most helpful and available volunteers for special events and other community programs. If you knew Jim, you'll certainly remember his smiling face and positive can-do attitude. He was at a lot of our events. Also, Joe Dooley, one of the founders of A Major Music, also passed away last week. Her dedications, resilience, sense of humor, and unstoppable drive helped keep our music and creative community going for years. She will be sorely missed in the community. And last but not least, I want you to know that we were notified that former 8th Ward Alderman Robert Dixon passed away. He served in the role from 1964 to 1968 and was also a veteran of the U.S. Army and was active in the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, National Electrical Contractors Associations, and the Academy of Electrical Contracting, and was the founder and president of Astro Electrical Contractors in Waukegan. His memorial service will be held on May 17th at Christ Episcopal Church at 410 Grand Avenue. And Madam Clerk, that's all the announcements I have. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have a couple of proclamations tonight. The first one I'm going to read is the City of Waukegan CDBG Department National Community Development Week, April 21st through the 25th, 2025. Whereas the week of April 21st through the 25th, 2025 has been designated as National Community Development Week to celebrate the Community Development Block Grant CDBG program. And whereas the CDBG program provides annual funding and flexibility to local communities to provide decent, safe, and affordable housing, a suitable living environment, and economic opportunities to low and moderate income people. And whereas over the past 38 years, our community has received a total of $34,593,086 in CDBG funds and has funded a variety of projects that have directly benefited our residents and neighborhoods. And now therefore be it resolved that Mayor Taylor and members of the City Council of Waukegan, Illinois, do hereby proclaim April 21st through the 25th, 2025, as National Community Development Week in support of this valuable program that has made tremendous contributions to the viability of the housing stock, infrastructure, public services, and the economic well-being of our community. Be it further resolved that the community urges Congress to recognize the outstanding work being done locally and nationally with CDBG by supporting increased funding for the program in fiscal year 2025, adopted this 21st day of April, 2025. Okay.
Good evening. I'm Larissa Garland. I am the director of CDBG. And this evening, we have the pleasure of having my SPP panel here. And I just wanted to acknowledge them for their participation. So I'm doing a certificate of recognition for participation on the stakeholders participation panel. from the City of Waukegan CDBG program for your dedication, your commitment and service to the community to inspire and provide self-sufficiency to those who are in need in our community. And I appreciate every one of you so much. And we're going to call your names, and then, well, I guess we'll take the picture after everybody get their stuff. So I just got a small, like I said, a small little something for you, but it's a certificate, and then it's this T-shirt right here. So you guys have one. So first we'll call up Cynthia Springfield, who is our president of the stakeholder panel. Next, we have Brandon Stewart, who is our vice president of the SPP panel. Next, we have Dorette Brownlee, who's also a member. And Rob Freeman, who's also a panel member. Last but not least today, we're actually missing 2 members, but last but not least today is Kathleen Collimore. So again, this is the panel that make the decisions, the hard decisions on who we're able to fund and who we don't fund. So I appreciate that, and they volunteer for free. They give us our time, so I really appreciate you guys so much, and thank you.
Marisa, you gotta come up. Cynthia, you wanna come up? One is centered? No. Okay. On behalf of the City of Waukegan, thank you. Again, these are volunteers who come in and spend their time looking over applications and deciding who should get funding for the year. And again, some of that funding is, well, not some of it, all of that funding is based on what money we get from HUD every year. And as many of you know, it's difficult right now. So.
Thank you, Mayor. We do have a second proclamation, and it is for Apraxia Awareness Day in Waukegan. That will not be read tonight, but it is on the board docs. If you want to see, we will be reading that at a future date coming up. Next is audience time. We have a number of people. I'm going to call your names. Go ahead and go to the east side of the room. Line up. Be ready to go. State your name. Stephen Wang. Brother Blanks, Jane Ferry, Clyde McLemore, Michelle Campbell, Margaret Carrasco. Stephen Wang, Brother Blanks, Jane Ferry, Clyde McLemore, Michelle Campbell, Margaret Carrasco, and let me get the clock going. You'll have 3 minutes. Go right ahead, sir. Go.
Hi, my name is Steve Wan. I'm the resident in 417 Orc, first floor.
Oh, Orc.
Yeah. Our front, the street, the blacktop is lots of broken in there. So we're wondering if we can have some replacement or fixing on that. Also, directly in front of my house, the sidewalk, I already fixed my sidewalk, go to the house myself last year. And if it's possible, the sidewalk in front of the house is very much damaged. And my wife even fall down on the street, on the sidewalk. So if it's possible, and get it replaced. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Brother Blanks.
Brother Blanks, also resident on Oak Street. I've been homeowner on Oak Street since 1986. And as Steve was saying, I maybe recall the street being paved maybe one time. But between the repairs that went on or the renovation at the Waukegan Housing Authority with the new project down there, Oak Street was used as a main street for cars, for the trucks coming in and out. So a lot of disrepair went in there. Also, just maybe 3 years ago, we have to remember Campanella did a main sewer repair on Oak Street. So between those two projects and the fact that it had already been in a deteriorated state, it's in a bad state now. So we wanted to bring it to your attention, him and I, and Esther here, who also lives over there in that area, to see what we can do. I didn't really see on the list of when it comes to the pavement and repair, Oak Street being on that list. So we looking and hoping that we can get some attention on that street immediately with respect to everybody else whose streets has to be paved. But it's time now, with all considered, for that street to be paved. So we just want to bring that to y'all attention. Hopefully we can get something done there. And as it relates to Oak Street, McAllister, Mayor, as I said, you wasn't here the last time. I reiterate that have been under your administration that our organization has been recognized, symbolically have been recognized more than any other administration since during this time. We was truly recognized with some credit, as I said, that goes to our first ward alderman, Ms. Bolton, who initially started. So we appreciate that in that symbolic gesture. But however, unfortunately, in substance, when it came to McAllister Avenue, where Black Abolition Movement for the Mind is located, in substance, unfortunately, under your administration, you failed us. And I just have to say that. I can't charge the whole first ward to you because there has been problems there long before you got there. But McAllister Avenue, under your administration, there was a lack of accountability when it comes to Robinson Engineering. And as I said, when I was bringing it to you guys' attention, it shouldn't have had to take me and any other citizen having to come down here to put it on the floor to get your engineering specs to bring these things to your attention. We tried for the whole summer, but I brought it down here. Unfortunately, we got the engineering specs, but it was quite too late, and that street is totally, as a new street, it shouldn't even look that way. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Jane Ferry.
Thank you for the time. Tonight you are voting on, in part of the consent agenda, G, you're voting on a resolution to approve the professional services agreement for large letters spelling out the word Waukegan. And I heard this has been pushed back a couple of times, and I've seen on social media that there are a number of people who are complaining about it, so I thought I would come in support of it. The cost is approximately $115,000, and it will be paid by a grant that the city has already received and accepted. These letters may seem frivolous to some, but similar installations exist in small towns and big cities really throughout the world. I was lucky enough to go to South America last year, and in little tiny towns that had 300 people, or big towns like Lima, Peru, all had letters up there where people could stand by them and take their pictures. And I can't say every single visitor, but the vast majority of visitors stopped by and did take those pictures. Waukegan has a lot of visitors. We have people coming to the Genesee on a regular basis. We have people come to the Polar Bear Plunge on January 1st. We have people come to our downtown for other reasons, and soon they'll be coming for the History Museum at the Carnegie. And these letters will give them some place to take that memory picture. We also have a lot of people who come in for Navy graduation at Great Lakes, and they are looking for places to take pictures. I see them at the beach on a regular basis. They would be passing where those letters are. And this would give recognition to Waukegan. It's nice to have one place that people can go and take a memory picture, as I found out that they're called. And Waukegan deserves this, and so do the people who come here. Let's give them the best. We are the best. We're the top of Illinois. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ferry. Clyde McLemore.
Good evening, Council. How y'all doing? I heard y'all budget report that y'all trying to submit to the next administration. $23 million deficit means deficit. Don't mean to go to the reserve. Reserve means to put that aside for emergencies. That's what reserves mean. Don't mean that you go put the 23 million in there. It's a deficit. Deficit means we in the hole. Leave that alone. I'm not no financial director, but common sense will tell you that. You can know all you want. But anyway, and you're getting ready to go. And I had to come and give you a love serenade. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more. Take Wayne with you. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more. Take Wayne with you. And do me a favor. Chief Bridges, on your way out, leave your black card and pick up your coon card. Thank y'all.
Okay, Ms. Michelle Campbell. Michelle Campbell? Okay. Okay, Ms. Margaret Carrasco.
Dear Waukegan taxpayers, tonight, as the meeting began, the financial report that was just presented, I believe, in length by the finance director, I believe Mr. Schultz is his name. If you take a close look at the formatting of the report, it was not, and I repeat, not a computer financial generated report. Sir, I hold multiple degrees, and my first degree, and I specialized in for 20 years, was developing financial software for many Fortune 500 companies. And folks, the numbers that you saw on those reports were plugged. So you ask, what does that mean, plugging? Plugging is a way, use of false numbers and financial ledgers that force balances and mask accounting errors and deficiencies. So let's see after the new administration comes in to see what the real numbers are, okay? Because that was not a legitimate report, sorry. The next thing is that I noticed on the agenda, you have a lot of contracts you're trying to push through. I get it. About 30 of them tonight, wow. I asked our 5th Ward Alderman Edie Newsome, as chair of the finance, it's, I think, only respectful to hold off on a lot of them for our new administration to come in and then proceed with them. And the next thing is the picture. Did everybody get this beautiful picture? Okay. And what is this picture? This picture is of the Waukegan Fire Department, Waukegan National Airport, ARFF, the Aircraft Rescue Firefighting Truck. Ann Taylor charged Fiestas Patrias, extorted almost $6,000 additional to us, charging us for this fire truck. This fire truck has a contract with the airport. It never can leave. It is designed only for airplanes. And you charged it to us. Stu, I sent a demand letter for payment. We were supposed to get reimbursed for that. We never got any money. I don't care. If I have to, there's a lot of legal options that I can do. But this is fraud, Ann, okay? We're sick and tired. Thank God you're leaving. But this is a way she would extort money out of minorities in the city of Waukegan, and it's wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carrasco. Ma'am, that concludes the audience portion.
Okay, on to consent agenda. Is there anything that anybody would like pulled from the consent agenda?
I would like to pull one
What
thing.
was the-
Can I pull a G?
G? Anything else? Okay. Can I have a first and a second for items A, B, C, D, E, F, H, I, J, K?
First, make the
Alderman
motion.
Turner, a second.
Second.
Alderman Donenworth. Item A, a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes from Monday, April 2nd, or I'm sorry, April 7th, 2025. Item B, a motion to approve minutes on March 3rd, 2025 from the Committee of the Whole closed executive session. Item C, an ordinance granting a variance from the residential driveway requirements to permit the replacement of a second driveway at 919 Commonwealth Avenue. Item D, an ordinance granting an amendment to the conditional use permit to extend the hours of business for the banquet hall at 701 Pine Street. Item E, an ordinance granting a variance from the front and exterior side yard setback requirements adjacent to R3 General Residential District in the B2 Community Shopping District to permit the reconstruction of a non-conforming building at 506 10th Street. Item F, an ordinance granting a conditional use permit for age-restricted multi-unit residential above-the-ground floor at 3670 Casimir Pulaski Drive. Item H, a motion to grant permission for the American Legion Homeward Downward Post, 281, to conduct the annual distribution of poppies for the month of May 2025. Item I, a motion to approve vendor payments dated April 21st, 2025, totaling the amount of $2,554,404.48. Item J, a motion to approve and ratify the regular payroll dated April 18th, 2025, in a total amount of $2,039,721.92. Item K, a motion to approve and ratify miscellaneous payroll in the total amount of $51,387,026. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Donnerworth.
Aye.
Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Felix.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Motion passed, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item G, can I have a first and a second to the motion?
So moved.
Second.
Alderman Florian, second was Alderman Martinez. And this is a resolution approving a professional services agreement with Electromagnetic Ventures, Inc. for the design, manufacture, and installation of the Waukegan identity letters in the amount of $115,600. Before we go on, can I have Director Noel come up, and because this involves a grant that we are in jeopardy of losing, am I correct?
Good evening. It is a state grant, the ETC 2023 grant. Energy Transition Communities is what ETC stands for. That grant expires, all money has to be expended by the end of June. We've requested an extension, but don't have that yet, so we don't know if we'll be getting an extension on it.
So I just want the council to be aware of that, because we've kind of put this off for quite some time. So anything else, Alderman Felix, you wanted to say about this, or?
Yes. Do we have currently the grant? Did we get the grant?
The grant was awarded for several different projects. Some of them are underway, some are completed. This is one we've been working on, and so as long as we can complete within the time frame of the grant, then we'll be able to get the reimbursement.
Are we going to be doing the audit? I know that for this specific one, there's an audit that needs to be done. Is that correct?
Well, the city has an audit requirement, yes.
From the state. Is that correct?
I'm not a finance director, so I don't want to say exactly who requires the audit, but most government grants require that the city conduct an audit.
So do we know that we're for sure going to get this money from this grant? As far as I know.
We've been getting reimbursements from this grant as we've submitted.
Do we do an audit?
As I
Do the state requires an audit every year?
That's on all grants.
Audits are required for grants, yes.
Okay.
The city's books are audited annually.
Is this a federal grant or a state grant? I thought it was federal.
Let me look. I wasn't part of the writing team on it. Is Thomas here? You know? Hey, Jesus, thank you. There's some lead service line as part of this grant too, so Jesus is involved as well.
Good evening, Council. Yes, this is part of the DECO, the Department of Economic,
Commerce and Economic Opportunity.
which is a
DCEO at the state.
DCEO, state grant. My department's also working with legal to update our contract documents. As we go back and forth, we have to meet the BEP goals for this grant. I know we have a city ordinance for Tier 2 bidding. However, the state is mandating we take it even further. So the engineering department has been working with legal counsel to ensure we have the contract out to the streets next week. As Noel mentioned, by June, we did request the extension, but as long as we have all the documents submitted to the state, we will be able to proceed with the projects.
Turner?
So, excuse me, this is April. You don't have to have it done until you have to submit the project for payment by the end of June. What's the June 30 deadline? What is that?
Funds have to be obligated. Yes.
Oh, okay, great, thank you.
So that means we have to have it already voted and pick a contractor or whatever.
That is correct.
Okay, and that's June 20th, the deadline?
June 30th, I believe.
Yeah. Our grant writer will advise us on the deadline, but it is in June.
June 30th. That's what I have in notes.
So this is what because I wanted to make sure we look into it in terms of deadlines. I mean, I know that because we're gonna vote on a 30-day, a 90-day, right, for emergency spending only. So that's
Get approved, so we do have that risk by holding it over. You know, if you're an investor, you want less risk. As a city, our duty is to use the funds that we got from the state as soon as possible in a timely manner. So it's really up to council to decide what kind of risk they want to take with that. If we do end up not receiving payment from the state of Illinois through DECO, they will, I'm assuming they will put us on the list, and our next funding agreements with them may also be jeopardized. This is funded by DECO, so we may, I don't want to say call it a blacklist, but I'm sure they have a mechanism for when municipalities do not proceed with the work.
Alderman Turner was next.
Alderman Felix, did you have anything else?
I just want to make sure that we have the funding secured for this. We're not just voting on it and we don't have our funding secured yet.
Okay.
The funding was secured, it was approved in 2023, and we've done several projects under this grant already and received our reimbursements. The vendor that we're presenting to you had one of the shorter timelines for production of the materials, so it's our best chance at meeting the grant deadline and having the art in place, the sculpture.
So I think I would like to hold this over because, as I've said previously, this whole project there was no involvement by the council, and it's only now here when we get to the end and we're talking about a deadline, which is more than 2 months away. So we have plenty of time. There's no rush. But I would like to see more involvement and input from the alderman here on the dais as to what the selection might be. So I move to hold it over.
Alderman Felix has been involved in several of the meetings and reviewed some things. The production timeline is 8 to 10 weeks, so we're actually right up at the end of it with
Yeah,
this.
but you said that the funds have to be committed. You have to choose what you want. You don't have to spend it by the end of the, right?
You have to spend it by then.
The reporting deadline is August. My understanding was that on our component of the project, the lead service line might be different. My understanding was that we needed to have a contract and have it expended by the end of June.
So we got plenty of time. We got like 10 weeks or something, right? Plenty of time.
Alderman Florian?
For clarification, wasn't this already held over once?
I believe it was. Wasn't it held over at the last meeting? Twice? It was
Been held over numerous times.
Yeah, so.
Isn't there a limit to how many times we can hold something over?
Well, okay, so just to be clear, the holdover, which is a unique procedural tool that the Waukegan Code has, we have ruled can only be used once. However, there could be a motion to postpone consideration of this, and that would require 5 votes to postpone it to a specific date. If that motion failed, then you would vote on this, and you would vote an up or down.
I'll make the motion to hold it over to, what's the terminology? Hold over a table?
A motion to postpone consideration.
Postpone consideration until,
But what if we wanted to try to override the holdover? Where does that fit in?
Okay, so let's stop using holdover, because as you pointed out, that's not actually what is available. A motion to postpone, there will be a motion to postpone. That motion requires a first and a second, and there's a vote. And if it does not get 5 votes, with a holdover, the presumption is that it will be held over, and you have to overcome that with a 2/3 vote. A motion to postpone is a simple 5 votes up or down. And
yeah, I'm going to withdraw the motion. Let's just get it over with and take a vote on it tonight. Thank you. And my
Roll call,
apologies.
please, Madam Clerk.
What did you just say?
We're
We're gonna vote on it
voting
tonight.
On the project, is what you said. Okay, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
So to be clear, we're voting on this item. Okay.
One more item. I'm going to check my documents. As Noel did point out to me just now, it may be different for her project about the obligation of the funds to be versus being spent. So we're checking with the team right now to see what the actual outcome is for that grant, just for transparency.
Can we wait till the end of the meeting, or could we skip over this for now?
Does the timing have,
Just
at this
vote.
point, I think we can just vote on it. If Alderman Turner raised the issue of timing and he said, just let's move on.
Okay,
I
roll
mean, it's a
call.
beautification project, so you're either for it or you're against it.
We can vote on it.
Madam Clerk.
Okay, just so I'm clear, we're voting on it as it is, correct?
yes.
Okay. And that was with the first by Florian and second by Martinez. Roll call, Alderman Turner.
No.
Donnerworth.
No.
Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
No.
Guzman. Alderman Guzman.
No.
Martinez.
Aye.
Felix.
No.
Newsom.
Aye.
It's 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 5 to 4. Motion passed. No, but motion does not pass. Motion does not pass. It fails.
So now we just give back the $115,000? Is that how that works?
Director, you want to clarify that?
We will reach out to the state and see if they'll let us reallocate it for another approved purpose or
Maybe
some
lead
other
lines
thing.
or something?
Well,
Maybe lead lines.
yeah. Yeah, yes.
Alderman Turner.
So, Madam Director, can we not select another project, same thing, another rendering to be put there? We can still do the same thing, some letters,
Do you mean another vendor?
another vendor, or how, we can do the same vendor, but we have time, right? We don't have to give the money back or
We don't believe that we have time. My staff and I believe that we have to have contracted and ordered the installation and have it in production and in place and billed by the end of June.
all right,
That's
so,
my understanding of the
at the
grant.
next,
I have the grant
so-
agreement in front of me.
So, a motion could be made either at this meeting or at the next meeting or at the following meeting to move forward with some installation, and you still have time to submit it, right?
I need to verify with the state what that June 30th deadline is. My understanding was that we had to have it ordered and billed and paid by then.
And then
So-
we got time.
We did ask the vendor what their expediting fee is. That's $15,000. The grant doesn't have that much room in it, so we'd have to pay that out of city funds if we were to expedite it.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
On to old business. Can I have a first and a second for items 6A?
Motion.
Okay, I have Alderman Turner. Who was the second? Was that Alderman Martinez? Okay. This is a resolution reapproving a reinstated professional services agreement with SB Friedman Development Advisors, LLC, for development advisory services related to parking lot B, 131 North County Street, in the amount of $29,500. Any questions to the motion?
I would also like to hold this over.
Okay. Any other?
I would like to try to vote to override the holdover. We need to get these things done, and that we've explained this 100 different times.
Yeah.
So,
And just to clarify, this is a contract that was actually previously approved, and there was just a change in the indemnification that we're making. It doesn't change the scope. This has actually already previously been approved by the council, and so we're just bringing this back to you basically as a bookkeeping issue.
So it's already approved it, so now if you hold it over, you're kind of not completing the contract.
They've already started working on it.
I don't. Noel, you want to explain that?
We have met with the contractor, and they have already incurred costs. We haven't been billed for anything yet, but they have incurred costs on the contract.
I'll take my holdover out.
Okay. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Donnerworth.
Aye.
Florian.
aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Felix.
Aye.
Newsome.
Aye.
Motion pass.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Can I make a motion to omnibus, Mayor?
Sure.
Most of this came out of my committee and was passed unanimously.
We would like to hold some stuff over, as far as speaking to some of the aldermen as well.
So we are holding over item B. Anything else?
AA and BB.
D and E.
And keep up, can you guys?
AA and BB.
The last two are.
And what was the other ones, Alderman Felix?
D and E. And L. I'm sorry, yeah, L.
These are all holdovers, or we're pulling them out? So L is one of the ones we're pulling out. Can we discuss that one first? Because the man who is involved in the project is here, and I really don't want him to have to wait till midnight to discuss his project. So would anyone object if we move L up to the first discussion then? Once we get to that point?
Yeah, we've got to do the others, and then we can move L up for discussion.
Thank you.
So the ones that I have that you pulled out are B, D, E, B as in boy, D as in David, E as in Edward, L as in Lucy, AA, and BB. Okay?
Well, B didn't come out of committee, so that one's probably just not even going to be discussed.
Oh, BB didn't, oh, no, B was held over, yeah. Okay, so we're approving items A, C, F, G, H, I, J, K, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z, and C, C, and D, D.
Well, DD is nothing, that was discussion.
I don't think
Oh,
D.
that was just discussion, I'm
DD's
sorry, DD, we're not approving. Okay, so is everybody okay with those?
Can we do it without reading them? That's an awful lot to read.
Can we have?
Everyone has the
Can we do-
agenda. It's published.
That's
we
a
have to
good,
read
it's a
it?
good suggestion.
That's a matter of culture and policy, and there are plenty of places that do not. What I would emphasize is that the items that are that have been posted on board docs, they're available outside of the clerks, actually in the front door. So, Mayor, it's up to you whether you want to read them or not. It does not affect the legal, actual validity of this.
We won't read each and every one of these. We will only read the ones that we've pulled out. How's that sound? Better for everybody? Okay, perfect. So.
I make a motion, we approve all the ones you listed that are not pulled out.
Yes.
Mayor,
Okay. We
does
had a
the clerk-
motion on that too, didn't we already?
I'm not sure.
Pardon me?
We had a motion on the consent.
You-
or on omnibus.
For the omnibus, you have Alderman Florian, but no second.
I'll second it.
Okay, I thought Alderman Turner has seconded it. Okay, so we have Alderman Florian and Alderman Turner. And so now we're going for the approval of all of those that I just listed. Okay. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Donnerworth.
Aye.
Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Felix.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Motion passed, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So is it,
Mayor, can I just clarify? So we made a first and a second to omnibus.
Right.
And then we listed the items in the omnibus and we just voted once. We didn't need to vote twice. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was true. Thank you.
okay, now, is it okay if we'll have to do a roll call vote on this. Can I have a first and a second to discuss item L first?
So moved.
Second.
Alderman Florian, second was Martinez. So we will,
That's a roll call.
yeah. Okay. Roll call.
This is a motion to amend the agenda to move up consideration of item 7L, resolution approving award of Phase 1 engineering services and utility upgrades for the Washington Street corridor to Patrick Engineering, Rena Consulting, and so just to move that up in consideration.
Okay, that was first by Florian, second by Martinez, correct?
Correct.
Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Donnerworth.
Aye.
Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Felix.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now I need a first and a second to hear the motion.
So moved.
Okay, who was the first and who was the second? Alderman Florian, and second was Alderman Martinez again. Okay, this is a resolution approving the award of Phase 1 engineering services and utility upgrades for the Washington Street corridor to Patrick Engineering, Inc., Rena Consulting, the lowest responsible bidder for a not-to-exceed amount of $1,279,793. They're here, right? Yes. Okay. Come on up.
Thank you, council members. Are any specific questions? So would you like us to give an overview of the scope of work for the project?
I guess I can go the reason why I'm holding it over. I know that it involves Washington Street, which, trust me, I want to do Washington Street as soon as possible. But I did speak to Mayor-elect. He wants to have at least 1 week, well, until the next meeting. So I don't want to just not do it. I just want to hold it over for the next meeting. And that way he can ask, get in contact with you guys, any questions that he might have about the project.
Okay. Alderman Hayes.
With all due respect to the incoming mayor, it's the city council that makes the decision on this agenda item, not the mayor. So if he had questions, he could have reached out at any point, and you can ask questions after the fact, but ultimately the question comes before us. Evaluating all of the bids, going through, asking questions, we had ample opportunity to ask many, many questions. So if the decision is ours, and we've already done our homework, and the winning bidder is already on the agenda, I don't know why we would delay what could conceivably be a really, really terrific long-term statement by the city council on the Washington Street corridor. Why delay it at all? We're up here, we did our homework, we can decide now.
Well, I will say two things. Number one is not every alderman participated in that survey. Actually, only 2 out of 9 of you did.
We had the opportunity to, I guess, is the important thing.
Had the opportunity to. Second of all, there is this rumor mill floating around that we've already done Phase 1, and we have not. There is no record of any Phase 1, and Jesus has researched it, and there's nothing that shows any Phase 1. So I would think it's to the benefit of getting Phase 1 done. But you want to talk about it, Jesus, or?
Yes, so like I mentioned earlier in committee, I was tasked to understand what the Phase 1 or the request was from the previous engineering firm and the engineers that we had prior to 2021. I got information from our government affairs team about the records that they had. Reached out to the Lake County Council of Mayors to understand if they had any approval for a Phase 1 engineering. The information that came back from the Lake County Council of Mayors liaison, Michael Clements, in email was that there was an application submitted, but like I mentioned earlier, it was the city was not awarded, but the city was put on the contingency list for the project, and the contingency list expires every 2 years when applications are due. Therefore, we applied with the same material that we had from before to the Lake County Council of Mayors, now at that time having passed a complete streets policy, which is a requirement. It's a way of getting more points from the council. We were then again put on the contingency list. Between then and now, we were able to develop a comprehensive RFP that mimics a lot of the state and national standards for procurement of professional services to this level. We invited the aldermen that affected the ward, that particular ward, and the chair of the Public Works Committee. Some aldermen participated, some gave responses, and some didn't. It's time, I understand. But we made it very transparent what the process is like. Jared, are you able to, this is Gerald Cebulski, the project manager from RENA. Are you able to speak on the timeline that it takes to get the project development report approved by IDOT?
Yes, thank you, Jesus. Good evening, Council. My name is Jared Cebulski. I'm with Patrick Engineering. I will be the project manager on the project, so working with the city day to day on the development of the project. It is about a 2-year schedule to complete a Phase 1 study per IDOT requirements and then get IDOT approval on that study. Basically, the study involves collecting and analyzing data, looking at alternatives for improvement, coordinating with stakeholders involved in the project, and then coming up with a preferred improvement plan that we then seek IDOT approval on, and that constitutes the completion of the Phase 1 process.
Thank you, Jared. So if the council has any more questions, I am more than happy to answer.
Okay.
Phase 1.
Okay.
Phase 1 is a 2-year process?
Yes, yes. And you've seen some similar projects of this magnitude. We have the Greenwood Avenue Bridge, the Belvedere Bridge, the Genesee Bridge. We follow the same timeline. Phase 1 takes about 2 years to complete. For example, Greenwood Bridge was awarded to the consultant back in 2021 to complete Phase 1 engineering. We were able to get the approval from IDOT. 2 years ago, we embarked in Phase 2, and now we are ready for an August letting with the Illinois Department of Transportation. So those timelines are standard for when seeking state or federal money. So it's important to start as soon as we can. As Jared mentioned, it is 24 months. We don't foresee having a problem with wetlands, which is one of the items that's being requested, but we foresee having the State Historic Preservation Office and the Cultural Review take longer than expected. We have a current project with the RTA where we were flagged, well, our consultant flagged us that it's going to take 12 months to get approval just from that agency. So with that said, you have that timeline in front of you of how long it'll take. And if you have any more questions about what the actual scope of work is, I'm more than happy to answer.
And are there lead lines on Washington?
There are, so we included that with the project. Everything's included with the water main work.
So, like I said, one of the reasons that we were under the impression that we were told that Phase 1 was done, but it never was. So, do you still want to hold this over, or?
Yeah, I mean, I would, and I've heard of that, people thought that we already had it in the works, but no, we never had it, and we do need Phase 1 engineering. That's why while we were here in the council for months, we were trying to figure out what to do with some of the RAP money. This is one of the priorities that I for sure pushed forward. So all I'm asking is just to the next meeting. That way he can meet with you guys as well and ask any questions, any doubts. But I definitely want to push this forward. I mean, that's not one of the doubts. We're
Well, this
picking
will
the lowest
be,
bidder.
actually, he needs to reach out then ASAP, because this will be, the next meeting will only be a consent agenda.
Yeah, yep,
And that will be before he gets sworn in.
okay.
So it goes in that order, so needs to make an answer.
What changes do you think he would want to see, Alderman Felix?
I think it'd be a good question if you have questions to ask him.
He doesn't have a vote on it anyway, so we just need to push this through, man.
Yes.
We're already mid-April, and, you know, the construction season is limited. These guys have other things to do, multiple projects. We're not going to gain anything by holding this over, nothing.
Would you like to try to vote to hold?
Holding this to May 5th, how big of a difference would it make?
But it won't be May 5th.
It will be old business on the consent agenda. This will come up automatically. Am I correct? Will it come up automatically at the next time?
If this is just a holdover, it would go on to old business on the consent, it would go into old business, and, you know, whether we're having a consent agenda or whether, it would just go into old business under the city council.
That's
So-
before the new mayor is sworn in, that's decided, is that right?
Old
That-
business,
yes.
yeah.
So then he can't weigh in on it then either.
I think the issue is questions answered, talk, the new administration comes in.
I
If I may.
just feel like we're put up here to make
Think
decisions.
it's being courteous.
Yeah.
It's being courteous. You want to know exactly what's going on.
We
Well,
can meet
well,
the
why are we
minutes.
making any decisions tonight then? If we're just going to delay things, what are we even doing here?
Because this goes into,
You know, we
we're
talk
looking at
about-
2
we
years
talk
in the
about
new
cutting
administration.
through some of the hurdles and the bureaucracies and speeding up the process, streamlining and getting things done, and then we hold this over. It's a nothing burger. I mean, geez, it's a resolution for a phase 1 study. They've got to do it. It's going to get done. And again, what do we gain? The new mayor is not going to have any vote on it. All he's going to do is call the agenda, just like this, our current mayor is doing. It's an agenda item. I think we just need to get it done, Victor.
May I?
To answer, before Alderman Bolton, I call on you, Alderman Felix, that phase 1 is just 2 years, but then phase 2 is generally 3 years. So you're still talking 5 years away, which could be past another mayor's term anyway. So, you know, there's that part of it. Alderman Bolton?
Yeah, I was just going to reiterate the fact, communication with this present administration and the future administration definitely needs to be taking place, not negating your opinion, Alderman Hayes. So maybe between now and our next council meeting, there would be some level of communication.
Has he had the opportunity to call you?
Not yet.
But I mean, you haven't like not taken his call or?
I haven't received any call.
Okay.
So that still gives time between now and then for this action to take place.
Can you repeat that, Alderman Bolton?
Hold it over then.
Yeah.
On to item B.
Thank you for saying, I'm sorry that
I'm
this
sorry.
happened.
Item D. Can I have a first and a second on the resolution approving engineering services?
So moved.
Or Alderman Florian, second? Can I have a second on this?
I'll second it.
Alderman Turner. This is a resolution approving engineering services from Gewalt Hamilton Associates for the FY 2026 road program. Did it go out? Okay, it's for $203,275. Okay, this is item D.
I'd like to hold it over till May 5th, as well as item E till May 5th, under old business.
Can I ask why, Alderman Newsom?
Because it's my prerogative.
So you don't want us to get our streets done?
2 weeks is not going to make a really big difference.
In the construction season, it can.
Okay, well, May 5th.
Item AA. Can I have a first?
Can I get a clarification, please? So that was a holdover on B and D.
Sorry, D and E.
D and E.
B was held over at committee, and so is not
Oh,
being considered
okay.
tonight. So it's D and E, the two, Gawalt Hamilton.
All right.
For a holdover, you do not need a second,
It was E.
and there was no motion to override.
Okay, item AA. Can I have a first and a second?
So move.
Okay, Alderman Martinez, second.
Second.
Alderman Newsome, this is an ordinance authorizing expenditures for the first quarter of 2025-26 fiscal year.
So-
Questions to the motion?
Yeah, so once again, we have a line item where we're gonna spend some amount of money, presumably a significant amount, and there's nothing shown here. It's just take a vote to approve spending. So I would like to know how much, and I'm asking, I did read board docs, but the audience here and the audience at home probably did not. How much are we asking to be approved for item AA, an ordinance authorizing expenditure for the first quarter of 25-26? How much?
5 million?
How much?
He's coming up.
Alderman, when you don't have a budget and appropriation ordinance in place at the beginning of the fiscal year, you need some authority to spend, to just carry on normal operations. And we carry over 3 months' worth, because you have to have a budget and appropriation ordinance filed by the end of the first quarter of the fiscal year. So we take 3 months. So you take 25% of what was appropriated last year, you carry it over to the new year.
So how much is that?
Let's see, is there a total of total appropriated last year was 245 million, 25% of that is 61.2 million.
61.2 million. All right, call for the vote.
Right.
Thank you, Don. Oh, wait, while we're standing here, same thing applies to item BB. How much?
I'm sorry, what's that?
The next item. If you want to wait until after we take the vote, however, but I'm going to ask you the same question.
Yeah, they go together. Mr. Schultz, can you answer item BB, which is the ordinance adopting an amendment to the annual budget and a supplemental appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year May 1st, 24 to April 30th, 25, and what that amount would be?
He told us in the board docs that it's a preliminary number and they won't have a final number for weeks.
So we can't approve nothing. What's the point in taking a vote?
It's not nothing.
Then what is it? How much is it? That's all I'm asking. What are you asking us to approve to spend?
To approve enough to get us.
Appropriate whatever it is. What are we voting on? What are we voting on?
You're voting on.
Of how much?
61.3 million.
Pardon me?
61,253,975.
Got it. Thank you, Don.
I'd like to make a motion that we hold this over till proper administration.
Hold on, let's clarify something.
Please.
This is not spending any of this money. What this does is basically creating temporary authority, which would still need to be approved by the council when you come with the next few months. It may take a month, it may take 2 months for you to approve a budget. If you do not approve these, you cannot approve anything at the next meeting or the next meeting. What this does is it basically says, we need some time and space to figure out what the budget's going to actually be. So what it's doing is we're saying we're going to appropriate what we think we need to spend for the next quarter.
Projective.
It's
Projections.
projecting. It's
Okay.
basically giving yourself spending authority. You still would have to approve all the contracts. You would still have to approve all of the check registers and the warrant lists. This is not writing a check to anybody.
Okay.
What this is doing is it extending you, giving yourself some time to do a final budget by the end of the city's first quarter instead of before it. That's all this is doing.
Okay. Thank you for those clarifications.
Okay.
You withdraw your holdover?
Yes.
Don, is that, did
I'm
I
sorry,
correctly?
I didn't make that
Did I
hold.
correctly summarize?
Good.
Okay.
Okay. So item AA, can I have a first and a second to that?
We
Did I-
already-
We did a first and a second to that.
Martinez and Newsom.
Yeah,
Okay.
you did it.
So this is an ordinance authorizing the expenditures for the first quarter of 2025-26 fiscal year. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Donnerworth.
Aye.
Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
I just had a quick question. You just said that it's not, but it's saying authorizing expenditure. What does that mean if you just said something else contrary to that?
So, Alderman Guzman, when you approve a budget and an appropriation, an appropriation sets aside a certain amount of money to spend, and a budget basically says, here's how we're going to spend it. You're not going to have an appropriation and budget by the beginning of this fiscal year, because the administration is going to wait for the next administration to make decisions on that. However, there are going to be expenses that are going to be incurred while you are working out the budget. You still need to pay payroll. You still need to pay vendors. So what this does is it basically creates a temporary short-term appropriation for 1 quarter, for 3 months. That authority goes away once you approve your final budget and appropriation. If you get that done in 2 weeks after the new mayor takes office, this authority goes away and is replaced by what you approve. If you take 3 months to do it, at least you have the authority to keep writing checks. You would still need to approve those individual contracts, check registers, all of those things, but you can't do that without an appropriation. So this is basically consider this breathing room. Is that helpful?
Gotcha. Yes, that's what I thought I understood. So I just wanted to make sure everybody else understood that. So my answer is, my vote is aye.
Martinez. Aye. Felix.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Motion pass.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item BB, can I have a first and a second to this?
First.
So moved.
Okay, first was Alderman Felix, second was Alderman Newsom. This is an ordinance adopting an amendment to the annual budget and supplemental appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year beginning May 1st, 2024, and ending April 30th, 2025. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Donnerworth.
Aye.
Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Felix.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Motion pass.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That brings us to Alderman time. There being no ordinances, it's Alderperson time.
Alderman Turner.
Thank you, Madam Clerk and Madam Mayor. Excuse me. So in the 6th Ward, our dumpster drop, as I like to call it, is this Wednesday, the 23rd, between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. It is on Hickory Street underneath the power line. So the closest cross street is going to be Keith Avenue, 9 to 3. Don't bring yard waste, construction material, bricks and rocks and such, and no liquids, bottom line. You can bring electronics and you can bring tires if they are not on the rim. I'll be out there to assist, so stop by if you can and if you need to, and look forward to shaking your hand. Another reminder, it's getting warmer now. More people are moving around, and we're starting to see more of these car burglaries. I've talked about this the last couple of meetings. More car burglaries, and just please remember, we're not in the safe, nice neighborhoods that we bought our homes in many years ago. Take your valuables out of your car, lock them up. If you have dogs, or your neighbor has dogs, and you hear one barking 2, 3 in the morning, late at night when they don't normally bark, pay attention. That might be something that you need to be aware of. And other than that, I don't have much more. Thank you all for your attention, and have a nice night.
Alderman Donnerworth.
Yes, our ward cleanup is Thursday, and it's at Bowen Park. Greenwood and Sheridan will be up in the first parking lot there. Again, like it says, just you can bring electronics, just tires without rims, and basically anything else you can bring to throw away. And I will be there from 9 to 3 or close by. Again, you know, like Alderman Turner says, you got to keep your eyes open. You hear something, you know, always be looking out for your neighbors and stuff, and just, you know, because there's nothing wrong with a phone call to the police, and the police find nothing wrong, but at least, you know, they were notified and could be in the area. Because then when that call goes out, the other police officers hear it also. And so they kind of listen to their area and say, hey, listen, you know, this guy's in zone 1, we're in zone 2, they could be coming my area. So then, you know, you're alerting all the police officers there's something going on. And then that's it. Thank you. See you.
Alderman Florian.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The dumpster for the 8th Ward will be Thursday as well, and at Beaver Park. Also 9 to 3-ish. I think it starts before 9, but anyway, somewhere between 9 and 3. If you have any questions about what you can or cannot bring, just reach out to me. Most of you have heard everyone clarify the stuff you can bring and the stuff you cannot bring. I just want to clarify some of what was said in audience time about our budget. I know it's complicated, it's big numbers. It's difficult to sometimes define what balanced means, I understand. But the fact is, as Mr. Schultz sent out to all of us a document during the meeting here, the city has approximately $57 million on hand. This budget that the mayor tried to present for her, which is actually, I think, her 5th budget, because she did a budget the first year she was in, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, now she's outgoing. I think she did 5 budgets, because she didn't have a budget when she started her very first year. That budget should have been done under the previous administration, which is why I suggested earlier today we consider changing our budget year. I clarified with the city attorney that we are allowed to change our budget year. It is not dictated by the state. We can make our fiscal year whatever we want, and I think we should change it off of May 1st or whatever, because we run into this every 4 years where we have an election and a budget, and people don't want to get roads done and sidewalks done when we're trying to get them done expediently during the weather. I don't like motions to be made during alderman time, but I will eventually make the motion to, you know, maybe we can get 3 people to sign a document to get it on the agenda, and that way we can get it done that way. I don't want to make a motion during alderman time because I don't appreciate that being done. But anyway, I commend the mayor. I know she was out of the room for a minute, but I commend her in the fact that she has presented us with 5 now balanced budgets. We have not raised taxes in her entire term. We have not borrowed any money. I mean, I can't imagine another term where this had happened in Waukegan before. I think it's amazing. I'm very proud to have been part of this administration, and I commend the staff that has worked hard to help us keep this happening, the finance department, everybody. It's truly remarkable when the cost of living has gone up exponentially in the last 4 years, we all know, because of COVID, and now who knows what the future is going to hold. But you know, there was someone who made a big deal out of her budget went up like 3% or something like that. I'm like, we pay our employees a 3% raise every year, so it's kind of surprising it was only 3% over 4 years. I mean, it's really amazing what she has managed to do during this term. And the fact that it looks like the budget is not balanced, We're spending money that we have on hand, which is what we should be doing, as Mr. Schultz explained. We're a taxing body. We shouldn't accumulate huge reserves, because that means we've been taxing our people at too high of a rate. We need to spend the money as closely to when it comes in as possible. And in this case, she has presented a budget where we're going to spend $23 million we have on hand on projects for the next fiscal year. It's the smart thing to do. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Alderman Hayes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I know the next meeting is largely ceremonial, I'm told. I don't know if we'll have an opportunity or what we'll be able to say. So I just want to take an opportunity to say to the mayor, thank you. I admire the way that you have conducted yourself. I truly admire the way you have led this city and that you have done the things that many residents didn't know that we needed. Everything that Alderman Florian just said about the budget, putting us on the path to fiscal responsibility that we had not been on for decades. So your accomplishments are far, far too many to list, but getting our financial house in order is the best gift you could have given this city, and I am really grateful. On a more personal note, I have never been part of any environment that includes such hostile and awful personal attacks on a person, personally or even in a political position. I've just never seen anything like it, and I continue to be shocked. I feel like, you know, with each meeting, I feel like I've seen it all, and the next meeting surpasses that feeling. So I think that you have weathered those classless attacks with grace, and I admire the way that you do it. I know that I could not have done that. So I want to say thank you for being a steady hand in an otherwise volatile environment. And from my perspective, you will be missed. So thank you.
Alderman Bolton.
Yes, I have to echo, Mayor, the same thing. I know we have not always agreed, but I admire your courage and your ability to take the painful remarks, even the misunderstandings. So I want to say thank you for your sacrifice, your service, and I pray your continuous peace and contentment moving forward. Thank you. And then I have to announce, wow, we had a dynamite cleanup in the first ward. I think we had 5.5 dumpsters. That is the largest the first ward has ever had. And I still had to turn some people away. And a shout out to Public Works and the staff there. They were stellar. They were hospitable. I mean, we had people walking down the street carrying stuff. It was something to see. So thank you so much. And I want to say thank you to all staff. I want to say thank you, even those that have left or thinking about leaving. Thank you for your sacrifice and your hard work. And I had a chance to get a wonderful tour at the water plant. Just they're handling our water, you all, with integrity. So I encourage you to take a personal tour. And I want to say thank you for that tour. Thank you. Congratulations to CBDG and our volunteers for all your hard work and that you do. And and don't forget to call, I think, yard waste, LRS. I think you, Mayor, indicated the next 2 weeks they'll be taking additional cleanup, and according to the specifications that she indicated. So thank you. God bless. Have a good night.
Alderman Guzman.
Pass. Pass.
Madam City Clerk and also Council. I'd like to piggyback what Alderman Bolton said and also Alderman Hayes. It's been a pleasure working for you, Mayor. I think you did a great job. Thank you for taking me under your wings. Also, you've done a lot for the city. You will always be remembered. I'm sure you'll be successful. So I wish you well with that. Just quickly, Earth Week is tomorrow in the 3rd Ward. It'll be located at White's Field, 100 North Lewis, for those who don't know the address. Please know what to bring and not to bring. I will be out there for the early birds. I will be having complimentary coffee and donuts for those who want to come out there. I welcome you. So it'll be from 8 to 3 tomorrow. I plan on getting a lot of them filled up and brought back, whatever, but it is tomorrow. Also, just to remind everyone in the third ward that my ward meeting will be on June 14th at the Brookside campus, 2535 Brookside Avenue. I will have a sweets table and also complimentary coffee. I will try to do my very best to get as many department heads there to give us like the state of the third ward in the city. So it is going to be on June 14th. Please mark your calendars. There will be more information forthcoming, and I'll let you know. Special kudos to Public Works. You guys, the third ward is rocking. In any street you go to, if they're not doing sidewalks, they're cutting down trees, they're working on curbs and roads. So earlier I commended Director Garland for all his help and his crew. You guys are doing a tremendous job in the third ward, and we really do appreciate that. All that you guys do and continue to do for our ward. I really don't have much else. I attended a couple events. If you need to get a hold of me, I can be reached at 847-390-2689. I just ask my constituents to be safe, be mindful, but let's all be a good neighbor. Thank you and good night.
Alderman Felix.
Thank you. I do want to first off mention that, yes, I also have for Earth Week, a dumpster coming in my ward tomorrow, along with the third ward. But mine is going to be on Washington and Buttrick from 8 to 3. I should be there around 11:30 while on my lunch break from work. So I'll be there, invite everyone to come and get rid of some of the stuff you don't need from your home. I do want to say thank you to the mayor as well. Thank you for everything they've done for us, and positioning our city where it's at currently. I think we're in a strong position to move forward, and I thank you for all of you done. And I definitely will take a lot of the good stuff that I've learned and I've seen in this administration, and hopefully we can keep Waukegan moving in the same direction. Thank you.
Alderman Newsom.
Can I have a motion to adjourn? I need a first and a second because we have to do a roll call vote.
Motion.
Moved. So that was Alderman Hoyen, second was Alderman Hayes. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Turner.
No.
Alderman Donnerworth. Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Felix.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.